Joining us today. We have just gotten started. Hello, everyone who's joining us. We have just gotten started. We'll give it a couple minutes for people to enter. While we're waiting, please post in the chat where you are tuning in from. We have a lot of people registered for today's event, and we just would love to know what part of the world you are joining us from. For example, I'm coming in from Toronto.
I'm here in Newfoundland, Canada. Toronto, and for people around the world, like Toronto is in
Canada.
Ontario, Canada.
Ontario. Welcome. We'll just give it, from France. We've got some people from Houston, Texas. Welcome, everyone. We'll probably give it just maybe another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll get started. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll give it maybe another 30 seconds as people come into the room. We love to see such an international audience, which is wonderful. Okay, we are going to get started. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for today's Tech Talk, SubC's Tech Talk. My name is Marcy, and I am going to be your host today. And we are excited to have you all here to learn about getting better inspection data in half the time. So for today's SubC Tech Talk, we're going to address some solutions to your biggest inspection and survey pain points. We are also going to give you a bit of a sneak peek to some new tech that we're developing. And then at the end, we're going to do a Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the talk today, please post your questions in the chat and we will address that towards the end of the session. Now, before we get to our talk, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of SubC in case you're not familiar with us. So we are a company that's based in Newfoundland, Canada, and for nearly 15 years, we've been helping companies with surveys and inspections. We are experts in both hardware and software solutions, and we are trusted by over 220 clients in more than 30 countries, including some top names in marine science and offshore energy fields. These are just some of the companies and institutions that rely on us because our solutions deliver. And although we got our start with underwater cameras, including the industry-leading Rayfin, which many of you might be familiar with, that's not all that we do. So we have a suite of solutions. In addition to our cameras, we have lights and lasers. We've got DVRs. We have remote operations and inspection systems and software. When you work with SubC, you're going to quickly understand what sets us apart. So our focus is always on you, and you can expect solutions that are resilient and that are field proven. They integrate into your workflows, and you also have a team committed to your success. And now that we've gotten those sort of formalities out of the way, I'd love to introduce today's speaker, Chad Collett. Chad founded SubC in his basement, again, nearly 15 years ago, and has helped establish the company as a leader in optical imaging. Part of Chad's focus, in addition to being the CEO, is driving the technology of our camera-related products and systems forward. And prior to founding SubC, Chad started out diving with the Canadian Navy. Then he worked for the NRC Institute for Ocean Technology. He has experience at Oceaneering and also Wellapetega Marine. So without further ado, I am going to hand it over to Chad.
Thank you, Marcy. So I'm excited to share how you can get better inspection data in half the time. So over the last several years of working with customers offshore, we've seen mainly three common challenges that result in higher operational costs for customers. First pain point comes down to integration and equipment of the equipment into your workflow and using new software. The second is around inconsistent image and data quality. And the third is how long it takes to process the data after returning to your office after an inspection. So this talk is going to cover how we've developed technology to speed up inspections, plus get you better results. Now I'm going to post a live poll on the webinar, and everyone can vote which one of these resonates with you the most. Just give me a second. I'll start the poll. So yeah, these 3 pain points in general. First, again, is around integrating equipment onto your systems and integrating new software and getting up to speed with new equipment. Second, being around just the quality of imagery being inconsistent and all over the place. There's obviously variables in the water that can affect that, such as turbidity and, the conditions, the lighting, how deep you are. And the third is around processing. When you get back to your office, sometimes it takes weeks to actually process that data. So it'll be interesting to see where the poll lands. I'll give people a couple more seconds. So people voting. Cool. Okay. Integration. So, and we've done a lot of work on the first one. And yeah, if none of those issues resonate with you either, post in the chat about other pain points you might have in your underwater workflow.
Chad, in case people can't see the results, so it's about 50% have said hardware and software integration is their biggest pain point. 28% have said inconsistent image quality, and then 21% has said the post-processing workflow is their biggest challenge.
It's really interesting. So the first pain point we're going to dive into is hardware software integration and training. So SubC has a number of ways we integrate technology in order to help you with that first problem. This year, we've launched our Rayfin single channel inspection, SCI, which integrates everything you need for a live inspection. What we did was we used the feedback from customers to get a set of requirements and design something that would truly help improve live surveys and inspections. So on the left here, you've got our DVR software. What we did was we made a single channel version of that, and we brought in all the Rayfin controls and camera controls that you would need into our DVR software. We sunsetted our Rayfin classic software. Everything's in a DVR now, except for autonomous applications, which will be later this year. And all of that plugs into the Rayfin, and also the lights and lasers plug into the Rayfin. So if you're doing a single channel inspection with a drop system or a small ROV, we've got a lot of good feedback that this has been ideal for a lot of people. And the beauty of it, it's all in one solution. So you got an integrated camera with optional LEDs and lasers. It's fully compatible with all types of underwater vehicles and platforms. There's different depth ratings available. And the topside software is a full DVR. It has annotation, it has image enhancement, it has a lot of other features we're going to cover coming up in this presentation. And it's really user-friendly. Another way we help with integration is we've got a full API, and we also work with third parties. So if you use a third-party software, like one of the ones shown on the screen here, it is possible for us to work with them to help your workflow be more seamless. So what you can do then is you can maintain your preferred systems and preferred softwares for doing your inspection surveys while enhancing their capabilities with 4K, digital stills, live streaming over the internet, remote operations, and other features. So on the left here, you got Wood Nexus IC. Wood's a large, very large multinational company. They've got this software called Nexus, and it's for field planning and inspection planning. And then there's A's Integra Elements. That's similar, but it's a company over in Europe, and they developed this software for, again, planning of surveys, inspections, and also field maintenance. And then on the right, you've got Biggle, and that's for marine science industry. And that's a image annotation software for marine biologists and ecologists and geologists to work together to annotate images. And all of our software and technology plugs into these softwares and more. Another way we solve for complex integration is by creating full end-to-end vehicles. We don't and we won't be making an ROV, but we do make a tow and drop camera system. So we call this the SubC tow camera system. Pretty obvious. And is primarily used by people on environmental surveys, prior to this system, a lot of our customers have been building their own drop and tow sleds. That results in a lot of research and cost and rework, and ultimately a lower quality result with a higher cost. So we're always improving our systems as well. And with the latest software upgrade this summer, we've added real-time 4K video on these systems. With H.265, we've also added live digital stills at the surface, along with other capabilities that we're going to cover in this talk. Another challenge integration can be tech support. So we've got a standard onboarding included with all of our deliveries. This includes training and support to get you up and running quicker. And it's all around helping, save you time. We're also helping organizations achieve workflow efficiencies by enabling remote operations through the cloud. So if you want to do the work, but you need to do it remotely, there's a lot of high bandwidth and still low bandwidth connections available offshore. There's Starlink now, but there's also VSAT. There's 3G, 4G in some places. Our systems are compatible with all of these and fully tested. So we can add low latency video and data and multi-way audio to enable real-time decision-making. This is also shown to reduce costs and reduce HSE exposure, allowing accessibility. It allows people to work from the office instead of a ship, or allows you to slowly move some people onshore instead of offshore. And SubC developed that streaming and real-time operations, remote operations platform to enable applications as simple as streaming a single video all the way up to streaming multiple videos, audio, and data for a full ROC, remote operations center. Fugro has integrated SubC's real-time streaming and audio rooms into their systems for remote piloting, and that lets teams across the planet see and hear all aspects of the mission. So now that we've talked about integration, we're going to focus on pain point number 2, how image quality can be inconsistent underwater. Offshore operations are expensive. Getting a ship organized with equipment and a crew and managing travel and logistics is difficult. The whole point of doing all of that is often just to collect a video or underwater data. So with that in mind, we've developed a lot of features, ensure quality is delivered as high as possible so that that time you spent planning all of that and booking ships and everything is not wasted. First way we address quality is right at the front of the camera. All of our Rayfin cameras have liquid optics incorporated into the mechanical design. Optical quality is one of the most important features of an underwater camera. And at SubC, we focus on 5 key parameters when designing and testing our optics. Number 1, we need to make sure it's rugged. Reliable sapphire is used in our lenses. It's impact and scratch resistant. There's no point in having a camera system if you got a giant scratch on the front, of all of your video. It's in all of your data then. Also distortion, the bending of light as it passes through a medium such as water or glass. We've designed our lenses to account for the bending of light through water, hence the name liquid optics. Because the light is less distorted, it also reduces the color bleed of red, blue, and green wavelengths. So that's called chromatic aberration. You see that there on the right. We greatly reduce that as well. And we also remove the magnifying effect of water. So we're widening the field of view by 33%. And the most important is high sharpness. It's critical for SubC applications from biology to offshore energy. A very high sharpness brings out the hidden details that you didn't know were there. If you need to see that crack in a pipe, or if you need to see, differentiation between different types of marine species, it's very important to have high sharpness. It's no point in having a video if it's doesn't have the detail. There's some other features that improve image quality that we've brought in as well. So we've got digital stills synchronization with LED strobes that plug into the camera. We've got live H.265, which is the software update we came up with this summer. And that gives you double the quality over the same bandwidth, or half the bandwidth for the same quality as you had before. Basically, bandwidth reduction or quality increase, up to you. You can set the bandwidth in our camera systems, in our software. And we also added 4K video, live 4K video over Ethernet. And that's compatible with all ray fins that have been delivered for the last 5 years. We also have data overlay, logging, and black box in our software, and we have real-time image enhancement. So here's an example of a real-time image enhancement feed. So on the left there, you have the unenhanced video, and on the right is the enhanced. Oh, 1 second. There you go. On the right is the enhanced feed. So you can see it's an algorithm running on the CPU, and all it's doing is contrast enhancement and some other processing to bring it out and make things more human visible. This is a tool that's built into our software, and it's a simple click of a button. And we're coming out with an update next year to improve this image enhancement and use the GPU. Here's another side-by-side comparison of the quality difference you can see. And this doesn't change the recorded video. This is only on what you're seeing. So you're not changing the data. And a lot of customers have given us that feedback. They don't want the data changed, but they do want to be able to see better. So that's what we did with this. Another capability that gives you higher quality imaging is a new thing we've developed this year called RayFin Rapid Digital Imaging, or RDI technology. RDI captures thousands of ultra clear images and enables higher speed inspections when compared to conventional ROV video. So these digital stills deliver superior resolution and zoom capabilities compared to traditional video frames. And I'll show you what that means in a second. Basically, though, data from the underwater systems is input into the software, and then the software controls the camera system, and it receives and catalogs the video and the digital stills in real time. And that video can be HD or 4K, and the digital stills are taken simultaneously. As the digital stills are coming into the system, they're synchronized with time and GPS location and other sensors. And that data is embedded directly into the digital still metadata, the EXIF data. It's not on the frame. It's not in a separate file. And that has several benefits that I'll show you now in a second. So when compared with conventional video inspections, RayFin Rapid Digital Imaging, or RDI, has some advantages. Number one is motion blur. So as you're taking a video tends to be running at 30 or 60 frames per second, which correlates to 16 or 32 milliseconds for an exposure. For a digital still, you're usually at 1 to 5 milliseconds, so it's faster. The speed of an inspection also can be faster because you do not need to stop and optically zoom like you do in a traditional inspection. You can do it in parallel. You can capture the optical zoom camera in our software and capture the RDI with our RayFin camera, again, all in our software. And you can have both in parallel. But what this allows you to do is do a flyby of the assets and the scene, collect all those digital stills, and zoom in post. It also has good data synchronization. GPS is coming in. It's embedded into the JPEG photos, ensuring that the photos are time and location synchronized. Whereas video is saved as a file and there's a data file separately most of the time. Video also is slow for processing. It has limited resolution, it has motion blur again, and reduction in sharpness because of that. Digital stills has the data embedded. And if you go back and look at one of those digital stills in 5 years, that data is still going to be there. It's going to be time synchronized and location synchronized. And you also have your depth and altitude that can be embedded in there as well. So you can really get where that was in 3D space and go back and find it and look at the digital still and see that change. Say if it was a crack in a pipe or something like that, you could go back and see that crack has been progressing over time. So here's a HD frame grab, and I should explain like the difference between a frame grab and a digital still. A frame grab is like a literal grab from a video. You stop the video and you export that frame, whereas a digital still is an intentional photo taken by the camera system. So this is a frame grab. When you zoom in 4x on that frame grab, this is what you get. And you've got some interlacing in the background here because this is motion blur, the scene's moving. The rock is not moving, it's held in the manipulator of the ROV. And this is a digital still from the Rayfin. That frame grab was also from one of our cameras as well. But this is a digital still from a Rayfin, and it's not held onto the chain. This is actually free flying. And when you zoom in 4x on that digital still, you've got a lot of retained data. So our system enables you to process and analyze past data using the highest quality images. This future-proofing capability ensures that you're always equipped to make informed decisions. And basically it comes down to long-term savings. And it can lead to long-term cost savings by avoiding having to go back with the ship and inspect the specific area. You capture all this data in real time as digital stills, and all of that data is retained. And it's at 2 hertz, it's not at video frame rates. So you don't have to worry about data problems then, too much data. And this is on the left here, for example, this is a digital still. And on the right, this is that same digital still, but it's the red box cropped out. So you can actually zoom and post. So the digital still retains the clarity, the resolution, the sharpness forever. So Wood has been using SubC Rayfin cameras and our RDI technology to streamline some of their inspections in the Gulf of Mexico. So they've seen a 2 times faster inspection with more accurate data because of this technology. And we began working with Wood to realize their vision of SubC inspections. Those first requirements were around digital stills as an inspection format, which kind of evolved into RDI. We're now working with them to enable their goals for remote inspections as well. So their field engineering and inspection team lead has said, the level of detail captured by RDI has exceeded our expectations. It has enabled us to conduct the inspection of SubC assets more efficiently and cost effectively than with traditional methods. So the final pain point we're going to look at is post-processing. So what that is when your inspection is complete, there's still a lot of work to do. And that work can take weeks. The features I'm about to share with you come standard as part of a Rayfin SCI or single channel inspection solution that I shared with you earlier. It also comes standard with our DVR products as well. And basically, traditional methods of capturing digital stills require lengthy download times and extensive post-inspection organization. And that can be both time consuming and costly. And for context, what that means is the digital stills for most cameras are stored in the camera, and it uses the camera's clock and the camera's data. With our system, the digital stills are actually transferred. They don't even get saved to the camera. It runs in a different mode. It takes the bytes of information and sends them directly over Ethernet to our software topside, and then catalogs them on the DVR. And all the GPS information that's coming into the DVR is cataloged with the digital stills in real time. So it's all time synchronized and location synchronized. So you don't need to download it all on the deck of the ship. So data, digital stills, and videos are immediately accessible as well. So you don't need to run systems on the deck of ship after your survey. Saves time and also saves costs and wear and tear on equipment. And then we go a step further, and the system's automatically organizing all that data into customizable file structures. So if you have a certain way that the files need to be stored, you can set that up in a DVR very easily and have it stored that way for one customer. If you go do another inspection for a different customer or different deliverable, different project, you can set it up to store the files in a different way. And it's all about getting the data you need so you can focus on making decisions, not managing files. And finally, our system embeds key information like GPS coordinates and timestamps. It means less manual work, fewer errors, and a faster turnaround. And it leads to more accurate and reliable data collection. So I've been talking about GPS embedding for a little while, and this is what it looks like. This is EXIF data on a file. This is not shown on top of the image. It's actually just overlaid in this software. So you got your lat and long as well as your depth there on the right here. And that's part of the JPEG photo, but doesn't change the image itself. So an example of a customer who has seen value in our EXIF feature is Fugro. They've been using our tow camera system for environmental assessments. One of their project environmental scientists has said, "We've been impressed with the software's capabilities. Features like the visual EXIF GPS indicator are incredibly helpful. The collaborative approach has truly enhanced our project workflow, and it's great to have such a responsive and supportive partner in SubC Imaging." Ocean Ecology are also using our systems, and their head of survey has said, "Rayfin SCI has been a game changer for Ocean Ecology's teams, cutting our post-survey processing times by at least half and even more for larger projects. The efficiency it offers is unparalleled, making it an invaluable tool for our survey operations." So as we discussed earlier, many of you are facing challenges in your surveys, inspections that slow you down, increase costs, and leave you with data that's hard to trust. So the end result. First, our inspection solutions simplify the entire process, reducing operational time and costs. And second, we know the frustration of inconsistent image quality. With SubC, you get consistent, high-quality images and real-time data, making your workflow smoother and more predictable. And third, this is about complete digital transformation. Our system automates data handling and integrates seamlessly with your existing equipment, and reduces manual work and the potential for errors, and there's no more time wasted on lengthy post-processing. You still need to do some, but it really helps keep all the data together. And ultimately, it's about better decision-making. With faster, more reliable data at your fingertips, you can make informed decisions that improve safety and boost your productivity. So if you're ready to eliminate these pain points and transform your survey process, let's talk. Before we get into the Q&A, I want to share our technology we're actively testing with customers in the field. And if you're interested in testing this technology as well, please reach out to us. So I already talked about Rayfin SCI, or single channel inspection solution. We're also working on DVR multi-channel inspection. So we already have our DVR product. We have our Rayfin. They integrate together very well. But what we're interested in is actually integrating sonars, integrating pilot cameras, auxiliary cameras. We're talking to other companies about integrating technology. And we want to find out from you, what do you need for your multi-channel inspection system, full work class ROV inspection system, or it could be observation class. What do you need? How can we help? And that's what we're here for. A single Rayfin camera can be used for photogrammetry, and Rayfin cameras have been used this way for over 5 years. So this is what that workflow looks like. You got our camera, you got our software, and then you can use 3D modeling, photogrammetry software to process those images. We've now teamed up with ROV 3D software, and stereo pairs of Rayfin cameras can be used. The advantage here is that with a stereo camera, you get scaling, but also with ROV 3D software, it gives you a real-time 3D model, as well as a computer-assisted photogrammetry pipeline. So it greatly simplifies the process of capturing digital stills for photogrammetry at a cost that's lower than the competition. Rayfin stereo cameras are also going to be available in two sizes, the benthic at 6,000 meters and the micro at 500 meters. And this will be available with and without the ROV holder. And these digital stills that are captured by our cameras are of high enough quality to enable post-processing in 3D models with a sub 1 millimeter accuracy. So here's a 3D model. This shows up. There we go. Just needs a buffer. Bear with me. Having trouble with YouTube today. But yeah, this is a 3D model. It's on YouTube. This has been out for a number of years as well. And it just shows you the quality of the 3D model produced by processing Rayfin digital stills. I might pop back to this in a second. Oh, there we go. Finally buffered. Okay. This is of an offshore structure. So basically the photos with the camera were taken in a kind of a snake or S pattern on the structure. And then those digital stills were brought back into another software to be processed using a process called photogrammetry. And the digital stills are all 12.3 megapixel, and the sharpness of the images are very high, and it's water corrected. So after it's been calibrated, it can be used to make really high accuracy models. So now I'm going to pass the mic back to Marcy for some Q&A.
Thank you so much, Chad. That was fantastic. So much wonderful information on helping people have faster and better inspections and surveys. So we do have a couple of questions. The first one is around how do we compare with Teledyne Bowtech? Do you have any insights into that?
Teledyne Bowtech has a lot of products. So they've got, a dozen or more different camera products, I believe. One difference that SubC decided to take several years ago was to put our effort into making one very good camera system. And that's what we call the Rayfin. And we have multiple versions of Rayfin, but it's all the same core technology. So same software, same image pipeline, same liquid optics, and just different depth ratings and different kind of versions of that. So yeah, I think that's a big difference. We're focused on quality and really honing in on one key product. You could maybe more compare like, GoPro or a company like that. They're focused on one key product rather than trying to make 10 to 20 products that are of varying quality.
Thank you. The same person has asked for a link for a YouTube video, so we will reach out to you after the webinar. We have your email address from your registration, and we can share all the links. If anyone else has any questions, please post them into the chat. Another question, does the software for photogrammetry come with the SubC camera? No,
but there's a lot of photogrammetry softwares out there. There's some free versions. There's one that most people in the industry are very familiar with, a software called Agisoft, AGISOFT. We can post that after as well. Yeah, it's very common these days. It used to be a very big specialty, but it's become much more common. So we don't make a software because there's already really well-made softwares out there.
Wonderful. We've talked about a couple of examples of those pain points and how we're directly addressing them with some of our products. Is there anything else that we've talked about a lot about the Rayfin, some of the software capabilities? Are there any other of these products that people might be surprised about their capabilities?
Yeah. So we didn't talk a lot about streaming. We've got a stream product we've developed for the last almost 5 years now. And it actually probably more than 5 years. And it's enabling some things that we didn't really plan on. We started with video streaming, and then we started getting asked to do data streaming, and then audio streaming, and then multi-way audio rooms. And we've developed little modules for each of those. So that's probably surprising because most people think we're a camera company, and we're more than a camera company. We've got software, we've got cloud-based infrastructure. We can help you get that cloud-based infrastructure on like an edge server in the future if you're concerned about security or having things within your VPN. So yeah, I think it's surprising to people these days that we're so diversified within our portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well with some of those products, it's definitely customer driven. So what you described, a lot of what we develop at SubC is because people are asking for it. They're needing those solutions, which I think is wonderful. Another question we have in the chat is there an option to apply the AI enhancement to the data being obtained rather than it only enhancing the live feed? I've not found a post-processing technique that enhances poor quality images as the AI enhancement does.
So you want to apply the enhancement to, in post, basically. So if I understand right, Ellie, you want to apply the enhancement to the images and video data that's actually recorded. So you can do that with our DVR software. You can actually open up files and re-enhance them without changing the data. So if I understand, you just want to be able to see it again enhanced after instead of just live. And that's possible.
Great. Another question is, why are you releasing a stereo camera now? What have been technical challenges before, or is this a demand-driven decision?
Demand. Yep. It's demand driven. So we're seeing a lot of requirements from customers. They're looking for alternatives to some of the very highest cost solutions that are in the market for stereo systems. Those are very, very expensive. And we aren't making a 3D modeling pipeline. We're working with ROV3D, another Canadian company, to have a joint solution to that. And that joint solution will have a number of advantages over some of the things that are in the market. We've been doing that project now with them for a few years. So we're more on the end of releasing it actually and go to market.
Fantastic. Another question is, are the camera specs for the Rayfin online? I can probably answer that one unless, Chad, you have something else to say afterward. But yes, all of our camera specs are online. So if you go to SubCimaging.com, there is a camera section. You can see all of our different models, and then the specs for each of those different models are on the different pages there.
I'll also post, we also have support.subcimaging.com, and I'll post that in the chat there. That is our technical resource site and our full support portal, and it's all searchable. So you can look for sensor specs. Just type that in there and get more information. Also, like Marcy said, go to our website, check out the data sheets and so on. They're all available.
Yes. Any further, before we wrap up fully, if there's any further questions from the audience, please post those in the chat. We'll give this another, 30 seconds or so. If we don't have any other questions, we will sign off. Just so everyone knows, you will be getting a recording of this webinar into your inbox tomorrow at some point. If you want to share that with anyone in your network, or if there's anyone that you know that might be interested in some of the technology that we have talked about. Also, as Chad said, we do have some of that technology that we're testing with some customers. So if you're interested in that, please send us an email at team@subcimaging.com. It doesn't look like we have any more questions. So thank you everyone who has attended for today. Again, you will get this webinar recording into your inbox, and have a wonderful day.
Have a good evening if you're on the other side.
Oh yes, and a good evening. Take care, everyone.
See ya.